Welcome back to Sociology. Today we're going to look at studying people, which is a component of sociological research. So here's where we're going to go into a little bit more depth in regards to population, sampling, and variables. So, to refresh our memory, what is a theory? A theory refers to organized arguments about various elements of social life and how they are related to one another. A set of relevant concepts and their definitions, general statements about social relationships, statements about the cause of those relationships, general predictions based on these reasons and how people will react to certain events, experiences, or conditions, and statements specifying the scope of the theory or these situations in which the theory's predictions are expected to hold true. So, for our semester project, you should be able to answer every single one of these questions in the beginning part of your paper, in the intro or part of the beginning part of the paper that kind of sets up your thesis or hypothesis. So hypotheses are a little bit more specific than theories. They are limited to variables being measured at a given project, so to operationalize, which brings us back to our last video for an operational definition. To operationalize is to transform or translate a concept into something that can be measured. So let's go back to these variables. We have independent and dependent variable. So the independent is a variable predicted to lead to change in another variable, while the dependent variable is the variable that is predicted to change as a result of the independent variable. So the independent variable is what you manipulate. The dependent variable is what you measure. Cause and effect. Does that make sense? So we want to be really clear on the difference between independent and dependent. So independent is manipulated, dependent is measured. Cool? So then sampling. Sampling is the process of selecting units, people, organizations, from a population of interest so that by studying the sample we may fairly generalize our results back to the population for which they're chosen. So you have sample, probability or representative sample, random sample, sampling frame, cluster sampling, convenient sampling, and snowball sampling. You don't need to know these in as thorough detail, but it is important to have us be aware of these terms and then to understand who our population sample is. So sample is a group of people selected to represent the larger population that we are studying. Probability sample is systematically choose participants in an attempt to draw a sample representative of the population. Random sample are participants randomly picked. Sampling frame is a list of all the possible elements in a population. Cluster sample, convenient sample, snowball sample. So there's a difference between reliability and validity. Reliability is when a study yields the same results over and over again using the same techniques and data. So if I were to read your paper, So if I were to read your paper, will I be able to have enough information from your project that I would be able to recreate the experiment exactly the same way, and would I then get exactly the same results? So validity are how accurate your findings are to the study. Does that make sense? So this is what I projected, and then how accurate are those findings? So reliable but not valid is that you get the same results all the time, but it's not measuring what you anticipated it would measure. Valid, not reliable is that, yes, you hit that little mark in the middle, you made a bullseye, but you got all sorts of results all over the place. So neither reliable nor valid is that you didn't hit the bullseye and you got results all over the place. So both reliable and valid is that you have a cluster, or that you got the same results over and over again and did measure what you intended to measure. So then now to some more ethical issues, right? So again, an institutional review board is made up of academics from diverse fields and make sure that the expected benefits of the research outweighs the potential harm to research participants and that you are following the code of ethics. So I will put these three experiments on D2L. Part of your discussion is to watch one of these or find your own experiment that has some ethical issues and then discuss it. So then qualitative and quantitative is qualitative in-depth semi-structured modes of observation or interviews, when quantitative attempts to precisely measure people's thoughts, feelings, or behaviors using numbers. So qualitative is based on opinions and experiences, quantitative is based on numbers, Qualitative is smaller samples, quantitative is larger. Kind of get that. So we continue to look at quantitative versus qualitative. In qualitative, we have field research, ethnography, which is my area of research, participant observation, in-depth interviews, content analysis, focus groups, narrative analysis, also my research. Quantitative are statistical significance, survey research, secondary data analysis, and experiments. Recap again. Assess the theory and literature, develop research questions and hypotheses, research method, conduct data analysis, report results, make conclusions and future ideas. So now it's your turn. What you're going to do, instead of taking out a piece of paper, you are going to write this on the discussion board, and you are going to make a timeline for the rest of the semester, as well as follow along as we explore each step and fill out how you're going to fulfill each of these requirements. Cool? All right, that's it. See you next time.